Now I'm going to say,
That's
make
incredible.
it sexier.
Make it sexier.
Welcome to the Writers' Room Game Show, where every week Ryan Pauly and Seth Worley heat up the mic as they race against the clock to develop a sizzling hot feature film idea. From the spark of an initial concept to a fully fleshed out story. Ooh, fleshed. We'll take you on a wild ride as we push the boundaries of our imagination and creativity. Oh my God, I need Goldblum reading this. We'll take you on a wild ride as we push the boundaries of our imagination and creativity. Tune in to see if we can come up with the next steamy blockbuster hit in under 60 minutes. It's sure to be a scorching good time.
Hey everyone, I'm Ryan.
And I'm Seth.
And welcome back to the Writers' Room Game Show. It's the podcast where every week when we have an episode, we generate an original feature film idea from scratch in under 60 minutes, working from a set of random prompts given to us by a big Hollywood studio. Seth, my man, how you doing?
I'm good, buddy. I'm looking at my feed is weird. Who cares? It's an audio podcast. I'm doing good. How are you doing, pal?
Not too bad. I seem to recall that you said you started watching The Fabelmans immediately before starting this podcast recording.
Yeah, that was dumb of me.
I see your eyes are red and welled up.
No, it's raining. It's raining only on my face. Yeah, I'm gonna have to unpack that. I don't know why.
How far did you get into The Fabelmans?
Not far, and yet I was crying.
Is
like,
it still little kid Sammy Fabelman?
It was like he just teenaged him.
Okay.
With the Scorpions, and he was riding home with his dad from the Boy Scout screening, and I cut it off. I have a feeling it's gonna take some dramatic turns, but I don't have to unpack this at some point. Why this was happening, other than I'm just a big nerd. It was like taking a good Pixar cry and just spreading it out over the course of the movie, like
just one little tear every scene.
Yeah, and that's what was happening to me while watching it. And I'm not. There's so many things I don't have in common with Steven Spielberg.
Yeah.
But like a couple really big ones, right? But they're not like the life formative. Like, I'm not Jewish. I wasn't as like. Well, I want to say never mind. My parents are both happily married, et cetera, et cetera. Like, there's all like, but at the same time, I have a feeling I'm gonna have a hard time watching all of it. Well, I don't think it's for everyone. I can tell how someone could watch this and make fun of it the whole way through, but I was like,
definitely, I loved it. I know
it worked on me.
Rene,
you've seen the whole thing.
Yes, an editor Rene has as well. He absolutely loved it. I think we're all Spielberg nerds, but we'll definitely have to like chat about it at our like end of year sort of like favorites. Look back, because I know we should have Rene on to talk about his thoughts as well,
and a therapist,
because I feel like it's such a special little movie, and also just very. I don't want to talk about it until you've seen the whole thing, but it's just like structure wise, it's very, very different than what I was expecting from Spielberg, just because it's sort of just these moments throughout his life, or throughout Sammy Fabelman's life.
It feels really, and this, I might be totally wrong in this, but it feels more Truffaut than we've seen of Spielberg ever.
Totally. Yeah.
And I'm really, really liking it a lot.
Yes, it's so much fun. Seth, I received on our Discord, we like to, before we jump into our game show.
Discord, everybody in the Discord, you're welcome for a consistent podcast schedule this year.
Very consistent between making a feature film, pitching a bunch of feature films, and like it's been tough getting, but I think, I'm confident we'll at least deliver some delicious podcasts. Maybe not every week, but we're trying our best.
By the way, I'm sorry, I keep interrupting you.
It's okay.
But speaking of things we're working on pitching.
Seth, every week.
I know. You know what? Actually, on this topic, Arlie, my wife, she says to me a few weeks ago after listening to our podcast, she's like, you need to stop talking over Ryan. And I said, you know what? I agree to a degree, I do. However, I've been thinking about it a lot, and I told Polly this, and he I think mostly agrees. Like, all my favorite podcasts are people talking over each other.
You've told me.
I think that's
interrupt me as much as you want.
Yeah. And I think that's what's priming me. And she was like, I don't know if I agree with that. And then like a week later, she was like, oh, I was listening to another podcast, and you're right. You need to tell Polly to talk, which is not like Arlie. She's always like, throw me under the bus first, right?
Yeah, of course.
Speaking of Arlie, she just texted me. She's like, is someone in your office?
She said, let Ryan talk. I can hear him. I love Arlie. I wish we all lived closer so that we can hang out all the time.
Me too.
But
all right, going backwards. Sorry. Yes, Discord.
Our Discord, which is it's like one message a week. I feel like someone sends in there. But one of our frequent listeners,
or Nick,
LA Nick.
Oh my gosh, turn off. Sorry, I gotta turn this off.
LA Nick had asked the question that I figured we could talk about before we jump into our game show. How did Seth and Ryan meet? What was their origin story? I wish that it was a more fun story, but I think it was just like we became internet friends, like through Ryan Connolly. Connolly. I was in LA like shooting some stuff for a commercial, and I hit you up for like breakfast or something. I think that was the first time we met.
For me, it was one of those things where you were. I want to say before I even realized you were connected to Connolly, because this can't really happen anymore. I don't know how it was happening then. I would notice, I'm going to say this, but I don't actually know how this is possible. I noticed you regularly engaging with my like Instagram and or Twitter stuff.
Yes.
And
then you checked out my profile and you're like, man,
yeah, and I checked your profile
awesome.
and you had really cool taste. I mean, literally that was it. It was just like, this guy clearly has really cool taste. And,
well, thank you.
And then you kept engaging. It was like, oh, a guy with cool taste, a guy who seems cool, a seemingly cool guy with cool taste is like engaging with stuff I'm putting out there. Maybe we should just be friends. And then I think at that point I connected with I connected you to Connolly. Like, isn't connected that you guys were connected. I figured that out.
Okay, nice.
Detective Seth on the case.
That's the origin. And then we met like at like a coffee shop that you liked.
Yeah, Coffee
in
Commissary
LA.
in Burbank.
Yes.
Where I would work and write for. Once I got kicked out of the office I was squatting in LA, I wrote all of my movie, my first draft of my movie in Coffee Commissary in Burbank.
Of sketch?
That's
incredible.
2018 to 2009. No,
actually,
late like spring 2018.
I think on the flight home from that trip, you had sent me the first draft you had of sketch, and I remember reading it. I think
it was like the first half.
Maybe that's what it was.
Because at that point, it still had sequence in the woods.
I do remember like a big ending too that completely changed.
Oh, maybe it was like, the complete draft.
Well, there was like a huge VFX ending. I mean, like you already like you
might have read the current draft.
There's still a big VFX ending, but this thing was huge. We'll talk about it afterwards. I don't know. Maybe I'm remembering it wrong.
I want to know what it was.
But there was some flying creatures.
What? I got to know more about this.
Okay, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it afterwards.
Polly, what was the point of Discord? The origin story.
Our origins. Yeah. But that's our origin story in a nutshell. And then we fell in love and
cool person with cool taste talking to a weird idiot who had
the only reason I was following you is because you made incredible films that I loved and also had good taste.
Sweet thing. You're so sweet. And you also mentioned Spy vs. Guy today in your Instagram stories. Thank you very much for that.
Dude, Spy vs. Guy rules. It's my favorite short of yours.
Thank you, buddy. That's sweet of you.
Yeah, every other one's awful.
The thing is, those shorts still like don't pale in comparison to literally all of my shorts. You can combine the quality of all of them, and none of them live up to Pizza Time.
Oh, come on.
What I'm absolutely sure, I'm segueing into, I'm absolutely sure this short you just shot, how that's going to turn out. How happy are you? How much can you talk about?
I'm very happy with it. Our cast and crew were incredible. I'm very proud of everyone. It's really fun. I kind of look at all the short films like, different little practice sessions basically for a feature. And this one was sort of like directing an ensemble cast because every short, I feel like me and you are similar where we write shorts that are like very simple, one or two people and, more just working out like concepts where this is like, yeah, it's sort of like a proof of concept, but also I just want to like practice directing like a larger ensemble. So that was really fun and a really, really great learning experience. And we get
you look really cool in your BTS photos, which by the way, I'm very jealous of because there are no behind the scenes sketch photos that I would put on my IMDb. Like all of yours, you look like the coolest dude to be working for.
You've seen a select few. Trust me. There's a large amount of those that I look like a complete idiot.
I'm just like post-pandemic full-sized Muppet walking around in the woods with headphones on.
It's also hard. We were fortunate where didn't have to wear masks. There's probably few people that probably should have been wearing masks, but coming out of the pandemic too, because it's like you're so used to just like wearing masks everywhere for everything. I don't know if sketch was like half masks, half no masks, or if
it was
you guys
masks
were
indoors.
All safe.
Masks indoors. That was. I'm not sure where the guidelines are now because I haven't shot anything since then. But yeah, it was masks indoors.
Behind the scenes photos of masks, you're like, oh, I guess this was shot in 2020, 2021.
Yeah, it's true.
First part of 2022. So you have a time to it.
Speaking of masks, have you seen Glass Onion?
I have seen Glass Onion. Did you see it?
I loved the use of masks in the movie. I loved the movie, but the masks implementation and the way that it spoke to each character was really, really great.
So perfect, dude. And like some characters, like the one character that she had like a mask that was like completely sheer, or it's like just like holes throughout it, which like it tells you everything you need to know about that person. This person
the one character that shows up with no mask at all.
Yes, medically accurate mask on this person. person, like a cloth mask. Like it said everything you need to know. And then you had that cameo from the person, the like COVID safety person.
That movie was cameo the movie. By the way, that movie was, I know we didn't mean for this to be a talk show, but when a movie is as good as Glass Onion and it gets brought up, you got to talk about it. That I've never seen a movie that was, I'm struggling to think of a part 2 or like a sequel, specifically like a sequel like 2 that is... Okay, it's not hard to find a sequel to a successful movie that is incredibly like clearly the spending was extravagant. Yeah. It's incredibly
they up everything. So it's like bigger cast,
also incredibly indulgent. Like let's just put like everybody who wants to be in this, we'll put them in it. We'll spend
huge
millions
sets.
And millions of dollars. Huge, yes. Like everything is just, it's incredibly lavish, and yet it 100% is like as good, if not better, than the first. And I don't know if I've seen. I'm struggling to think of a place where I've seen that because like it's so common to do. We were like, well, let's just go bigger in the sequel, and it almost always like they just felt like there was no restraint shown in this movie, and it was somehow even better than the first one. You know what I mean?
I love it.
I didn't say anything just then.
I agree with everything, and we also had. I know the movie doesn't come out on Netflix till like 10 days from now.
We can't actually talk. Yeah, you're right.
So we can't really talk much about it, but I thought it was awesome. Like, I think I prefer Knives Out still to it, but to me, it's like just as good as Knives Out.
I think it's funnier than Knives Out.
Oh, I agree with that for sure.
Yeah.
And Benoit Blanc, I'm just like, give me like 1,000 Benoit Blanc movies because he's such an interesting character, and the fact that you could have where it's like, I know it's not the first time like people have been doing this for hundreds of years, but like you have
but it's such a great attention to subverting genre.
Yes, where it's like he's technically the protagonist of the movie, but he's just like a framing device for getting this new cast of characters, and he's just doing his thing. And there's like, there's, I don't want to say who it is, but in this movie, there's like a similar character to Marta in the first movie where it's like they kind of, the point of view kind of is through them to an extent.
Kind of. Yeah. I don't want to tell people too much in my response to that, but I will just say that I'm curious to see. I remember after the first one, when they announced that he was doing more, I was like, well, how is he going to?
Yeah, how are they going to?
What was so great about Knives Out was not what was so great, but one of the things I think that made it so
subverting
great
your expectations
was that one big decision
that
was made about the structure of Knives Out. And I'll just not say it because, if you haven't seen it, I don't want to ruin it. But the big choice that was made that subverted the whole, your expectations of that genre. It's like, well, how is Rian Johnson going to do that? And I had to stop asking that because Rian Johnson clearly knows what he's doing. If he's going to set out to do something, he has a reason he wants to do it. And it's usually to subvert the genre in some way.
Yeah.
And it's why we love him. And he did it on this one. It's incredible. There's also a performance in the movie that I really can't wait to talk about the movie because of all these performances are amazing. But there's one that I just found like mesmerizing how good it was. And we can talk about it some other time. And Rene, you're going to bleep it. It was... Yeah. Like, holy crap, she's so good in it.
Mm-hmm.
She's doing it. She's like Benoit Blanc in it by doing an accent and absolutely killing it.
So freaking good. Looks like getting a call from the studio, Seth.
What's funny about that, Polly, is I heard nothing on my end.
You don't hear anything?
No.
Do you hear the phone now, Seth?
Vaguely. It's like Zoom is trying to cancel it for me.
Well, let me answer it here. Hello, studio? Sorry, let me move my headphones, studio. Yes.
It's important that you hear the call that's coming in.
Okay. Oh, interesting. AI. Oh, yeah, I mean, we'll try anything for you, studio. Yeah. Okay, thank you so much. Sorry to put him on speakerphone, Seth. But it appears that the studio has a new AI that it wants us to implement into our sort of our assignment. And so they're going to give us an assignment, and then we're going to plug that into this AI to give us a log line. And then we're going to write the opening scene of this movie.
Again, they just want an opening scene from us. I feel like they're just asking us for free writing. Like they're just asking us for free work.
Well, yeah.
Just get the WGA.
What can you do?
Or don't tell the WGA about our podcast.
It's on spec, and they're really excited, and they want to give us this opportunity. So,
oh, yeah, we should be excited about that opportunity. But the two of us know what it's like to write specs.
Yes, we do.
For people. Now, and for the viewing audience of our audio podcast, Ryan, while I look up my email and see what the assignment was, why don't you tell the audience what a spec script is in case they don't know?
Yeah, so writing on spec is basically like a
I'm like Vince Gilligan on the Breaking Bad podcast where someone's like, yeah, so we shot that. He's like, now before we go any further, explain to the audience what shot means because they may not understand.
Does he really do that?
Yes. And it's mind-boggling. I love Vince Gilligan. I love that podcast, except he will stop the conversation in its tracks to make everyone explain what the most obvious things are. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
So writing on spec is, I'll just give you an example. Big Hollywood studio comes to you and they're like, man, we really love your work. We think it's amazing. We have this new movie we want to do. We would love for you to write a script on spec. And you're like, okay, cool. Yeah, I'm down to do that. And then you write for free. You write an entire script out for them. Instead of, getting a development deal and getting paid to write, you're writing it for free in hopes that you can, make that movie. Or get that movie, get a deal for that movie and sell the script. But you're writing it basically on the chance that it might be made or it might be, sold. And so Seth and I have done that a few times. Or sometimes you have an idea yourself and approach a studio or financer to make that movie. And then you write your own script on spec for free in hopes to get it made or sold. Definitely prefer to have a deal, a development deal where you can get paid to write, but it doesn't always work that way, especially if you're starting out. So that's your break for teaching.
Pardon the interruption. We must now take a break for teaching.
A little late, Seth. A little late.
We just did.
We just did.
Okay, so here's our assignment. The studio wants a horror comedy.
Ooh, love that.
For fans of Aaron Sorkin.
Okay, sweet. So a little quick dialogue action again.
And it must take place during the holidays.
All right. A little Krampus action maybe.
Is it Krampus? I thought it was Krampus. Have we talked about this on the podcast?
I don't know.
I guess Krampus now sounds like something you have, not something you are
Krampus. Okay, so we'll take a big Hollywood studio AI, plug that in, and ask you to give us a logline.
I do want to give credit to what we're using because in real life, because you've now given it this fictional character. We're going to be using OpenAI's Chat GPT. I don't know what it stands for.
I actually haven't used this yet, so I'm very excited to see.
Oh, it's really
fun. I've just
fun.
seen screenshots from you and other friends.
This is the thing that everybody is you see everybody using everywhere. I'm going to share my screen. Is that how I did it last time? I shared my screen?
Yeah. And then we just pull up Highland and wrote it.
So this is the Chat GPT UI. And for the record, I've written in, it's insane what you can do with this. Hashi and I have been using it for nonsense.
As you do.
Me. Yeah, Hashi especially. He asked it to write a newspaper article yesterday about Cookie Monster and his human family. And that's worth checking out on the internet.
Absolutely love that.
I've been telling it, did I send you this? I have been giving it log lines for movies that I've been developing, movie ideas I have, and told it to write a 3-act structure, or write a beat sheet or an outline for a movie that is about, and then just putting the log line in, and then it spits things out that are
actually
scary.
You could start with that and have a great script.
And then you can say, but make it rated R. For example, write an intro for a podcast called The Writer's Room Game Show, where every week Ryan Pauly and Seth Worley
develop a feature film idea.
A feature film
in
idea
60 minutes or less.
From scratch in under 60 minutes. From scratch.
I want to see what they
so write an intro for a podcast called The Writer's Room Game Show, where every week Ryan Pauly and Seth Worley develop a feature film idea in under 60 minutes from scratch. And here it's writing right in front of us. Welcome to The Writer's Room Game Show, where every week Ryan Pauly and Seth Worley take on the challenge of developing a feature film idea from scratch in under 60 minutes. Join us as we put our creative minds to the test, bouncing ideas off each other, ooh, sexy, and seeing where the conversation takes us. Will we come up with the next blockbuster hit, or will our idea fall flat? Tune in to find out. Now I'm going to say,
that's
make
incredible.
it sexier.
Make it sexier.
Welcome to The Writer's Room Game Show, where every week Ryan Pauly and Seth Worley heat up the mic as they race against the clock to develop a sizzling hot feature film idea. From the spark of an initial concept to a fully fleshed out story, fleshed, we'll take you on a wild ride as we push the boundaries of our imagination and creativity. Oh my God, I need Goldblum reading this. We'll take you on a wild ride as we push the boundaries of our imagination and creativity. Tune in to see if we can come up with the next steamy blockbuster hit in under 60 minutes. It's sure to be a scorching good time. Yeah.
This is incredible, dude. I'm gonna start using this to help me write commercial treatments. I'm not even kidding.
Let's try this. Write a 3-act, write a beat sheet for a movie about. Now, give me one of our ideas we pitched in the.
Let's do the first episode we ever did about the dogs and humans switching
domesticated?
bodies. Yes, domesticated.
Write a beat sheet for a Hallmark movie.
A Hallmark movie where
about in which a
man and woman switch places with their dogs and fall in love, or swap bodies with their dogs and fall in love.
Swap bodies with their dogs and fall in love as the dogs.
As the dogs. Oh no! Here we go.
All right. 1. Introduction of the two main characters, a man and a woman who are both struggling with their love lives. 2. The man and the woman both have dogs that they adore. 3. One day the dogs accidentally ingest a magical potion that swaps their consciousnesses with their human owners. 4. That's actually better than ours. 4. The man and the woman are now in their dogs' bodies and must navigate the world from a canine's perspective. 5. As they spend more time in their dogs' bodies, the man and the woman develop a deep bond and begin to fall in love. 6. Meanwhile, the dogs are having a blast in their human bodies, enjoying all the perks of being able to walk,
This
talk.
is what we developed.
Your movie is complete.
Yeah, and do all the things that humans do. Keep in mind that this thing, I believe, doesn't have any internet information. Like it has trouble with things post 2017 or 2019 or something like that. So
this is almost verbatim.
It doesn't have our podcast in it. Like it doesn't know about our podcast, right? The man and woman must figure out how to reverse the spell and return to their own bodies before it's too late. With the help of a wise old wizard, they finally, way better than ours, they finally succeed in swapping back and reunite with their dogs. 9, the movie's not over yet. The man and the woman are now able to see each other in a new light and realize that they are meant to be together. 10, the movie ends with the couple happily in love, grateful for the unexpected adventure that brought them together. Wow. Now, watch this. Do it again, but this time use Blake Snyder's
Save the Cat
beat sheet. Yeah. Opening image. We're introduced to the two main characters, yada, 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 yada. 2, theme stated. The magical potion swaps, blah, 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 blah. Setting up the theme of the power of love and the importance of seeing things from a different perspective. 3, setup. This is literally taking the beat sheet that we did and putting it into Blake Snyder.
To Save the Cat. That's crazy.
Save the Cat beat sheet. And I can put in any other ones like we can think of. Like I can say Dan Harmon's Story Circle. We can say John Truby's 22 Steps. We can it's crazy.
Why? This is so scary.
I'm going to do one more thing. Ready?
It's creepy too that it's like writing it in front of us.
Yes,
it's not like,
that's the part that hurts.
It's not like loading and then it drops everything. It's like you're seeing this robot type everything out.
Yep, and it's like, I don't know why the movie I thought of is Sphere, based on Michael Crichton's Sphere, but that's a movie where they're like sitting in this submarine looking at a computer that's typing to them.
Yeah, or like war games where it's like, do you want to play a game?
Oh yeah, duh.
It's not a real voice. This box just interprets signals from the computer and turns them into sound.
Shall we play a game?
Oh.
I don't know why it said load failed. Do it again, but this time make it rated R.
God.
Too many requests. Please slow down. Uh-oh,
Seth. You did too much. Before we lose access to this, we should probably put in our, now that we know how it works, put in our assignment and ask for a log line. For a movie about, or let's see, for a horror comedy movie
that is a horror comedy, or a movie that is of the horror comedy genre.
I just put a horror comedy movie.
Fits the follow. Yeah, all right, fine. Write a log line, but I needed to know that it's a movie. For a movie that is a horror comedy for fans of Aaron Sorkin.
It takes place during the holidays.
During the holidays.
In this horror comedy for fans of Aaron Sorkin, a group of friends must survive a killer Santa Claus while navigating the cutthroat world of holiday office parties. All right. I feel like an opening scene of this isn't interesting.
I don't know. Actually, let me tell you something, Polly. First off, an opening of a horror movie is actually...
That's true. You have the cold open. You can have a kill from one of the Santa Clauses.
It also usually, a really good one, often feels foreign to what you thought the movie was going to be about.
Yes. You've got Scream.
I want to play a game. Then he dies right now.
You've got why am I blanking on this famous actress?
So Scream was great because Scream subverted your expectations. You thought the movie was starring Drew Barrymore. And she died.
Yes.
And it set the concept for like the killer and his many machinations. That didn't make any sense. Ever since watching Glass Onion, I'm now like incredibly self-conscious of all the words I misuse in my life. But I'm also thinking of like cold opens of like horror movies that with that, like the movie will go on to provide context for why we saw it, like what the point was of seeing it, even though it was thrilling. One thing I like about this though is while navigating the cutthroat world of holiday office parties, I
like how it's like there's literally a killer and they're calling office parties cutthroat.
Yes, and plural, like plural office parties, which a group of friends, the idea of a group of friends who must survive the cutthroat world of holiday office parties, like what if you have one night where all these friends have to go to their individual office parties and they're all going together?
Yeah. They're
they all
hopping.
like
they're like bar hopping, but at these office parties.
Office party hopping, and each office party has its own different culture. Meanwhile, a killer Santa Claus is chasing them, or is so we had to figure. I like that I don't know what the killer Santa Claus has to do with it. So I guess he should hit the soundboard before
it's definitely.
Go
yes,
further.
and here we go.
The writer's room game show has begun.
Let's say 45 minutes since we've already took up
for this break for a podcast episode.
Okay, so we got 45 minutes. We're going to write this opening scene. Yes, I read Killer Santa Claus and office parties, and I immediately go to like mall Santa. Like he's not like actual like a magical Santa Claus, but like he's like, you know, like your quintessential sort of murderous mall Santa.
Well, so okay, I like let's see, mall Santa. You don't think there needs to be some kind of magical aspect to it?
I mean, there can, but just in the opening scene, I feel like, especially with like more like a slasher like Halloween or Scream or something like that, I feel like this horror comedy would be beneficial just having like a unstoppable sort of slasher kind of villain as opposed to like a magical, you know, entity.
Yeah, totally. I'm trying to think of like how it can tie into the office party, like either thematically or something into this idea of like of a group of 4 or 5 friends who have to go to each of their individual office parties. And you represent like you get the white elephant, like you get the quiet holiday party, you get the loud holiday party.
Yes. It's like basically every season of The Office, you have different Christmas party of each one. You've got the Benihana Christmas, you've got the Nutcracker Christmas, you've got the, you know.
Oh yeah, one's at a restaurant. That's great. So one's like Benihana, like at a restaurant. One's like the Nakatomi Plaza, like big old like corporate
fancy
Christmas bash.
And then the classic corporate, like, you know, fluorescent lights and, you know, The Office kind of thing.
Definitely. And there's like a white elephant opening thing. So could one of the people have some kind of secret, like, what would the mall Santa? Why would the mall Santa be? Are they chasing?
See, that's just where my mind went. The setup.
Well, I guess is our Santa stalking them, or is our Santa already going to these office parties too? Does that make sense?
Because it could be a Santa that was hired for each office party to like be like an entertainer at each. No, because then it's like because you could go the route of like this Santa is someone that like have the mystery horror comedy kind of thing, where it's like the Santa could be someone we know because they're putting on a disguise or whatever.
And then one of the parties is just all Santas.
Just.
Or
he could be he could be anywhere.
He could be anybody. Or that's the opening. The opening is at like the Santa convention. I know.
Did you do you guys like used to do like pictures with Santa with your kids when they were younger?
You know, we didn't do it as much as we've done it. Yes.
This last week
we didn't do it as much as we did as kids.
This last week we just took Amelie to like our local mall to like take a picture with the Santa.
Yeah.
And like she just made a pouty face the entire time and it was so great.
It's so funny. Yeah, we found like the waiting in the line and everything, it just didn't seem to be magical for any of the kids, so we just didn't ever really do it.
And this mall Santa we went to is like the cheapest looking costume, and it's just so funny to me that it's like, yeah, this guy for the entire month of December sits on a chair in a mall for 10 hours a day. But anyways, I digress.
Because now I'm going into like Die Hard, but 4 times the parties and robberies. Like there's like one big like hit happening across all of like what was Die Hard 3 was where they took out all the banks, right? It was like Simon Gruber diverted the police away from Wall Street.
There was a school too. There's like a bombing in a school, right?
Yeah, but that was the decoy.
That's right.
It was a fake bomb. It was a soda inside.
That to me isn't like horror.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm sorry. That's where I was going with my theory.
Okay, gotcha.
That's where I go, but it's not
action
horror,
comedy Christmas.
Unless we can come up with like Die Hard, but the horror comedy version of Die Hard, which I mean that's been done. Never mind. As we can Change the course of cinema.
I still haven't seen it, but I'm sad the title Violent Night was taken because I really want to see that David Harbour Santa action comedy.
I love the concept of that, and I'm excited to see it. The idea of just Santa being the guy in the wrong place, wrong time.
Yes, the
I
John
think
Wick.
that concept could happen even if Santa weren't a drunk, dark Santa that they've made. I'd love to see the version where it's like Happy Jolly Santa forced to be John McClane.
Yes, exactly. So our Santa, I mean, it could be a magical entity. I'm thinking this opening scene probably should open up either at an office party or like preparing for the office party. And we have the Aaron Sorkin dialogue that, we want to have that tone. Maybe like a big oneer, West Wing style oneer as they're walking through a party, walk and talk, Aaron Sorkin classic stuff. And then it has to end with a big, gruesome murder from this Santa saying like, ho, ho, ho. Whatever. And, this really gruesome cut to title from this, thing and kind of a Scream style where it's like, it almost like cuts the title right on like a big scream. Someone seeing the dead body.
I don't know if this is a good idea at all, but something is compelling to me about doing like our little Aaron Sorkin rat-a-tat Aaron Sorkin dialogue opening at, you have like two people in an elevator in a locker room. Like they get out of a cab, they go into like whatever, they go into a locker room and they're talking, they're having a whole conversation. And while they're talking, they're getting suited up as Santa Clauses. Like both of them.
Ooh, yes.
And then they go, and then they open up a door and they go into a room and it's filled with a bunch of, or we just see them like a bunch of Santa Clauses, right? And what if they open the door?
I already love this so much.
So what if they come out of the locker room and they go through this like series of like hallways and they open this door and it's a room filled with dead Santas, like just tons of like, and clearly they're not expecting that. Like something just happened here. Where I'm going with this is, what if you set up like it's like this is like a Rent-A-Santa company. I don't know why everyone would report to a headquarters, but the idea is
I think it's a horror comedy. I feel like we can get away with the like.
We could also
ridiculousness
set it
of that
in the 90s or something, or 80s if we wanted to.
It's like Jingle All the Way. They have all the Santas in the big warehouse.
Oh, I hate that movie so much, but I love it at the same time. If you went to the, like if it was set in the 80s or 90s before there was like gig economy and like, and it was assumed that in order to work somewhere, you had to go to a central place first, even before you went out to other places.
Yeah.
The idea that like, this is where all the Santas like that are going to go out that night.
You get
your
your suit, you get everything you need. Like you get assigned your elf, all that stuff.
Yeah. You like, and maybe it's like, it's also their Christmas party the same night as like, they all have to also go to office parties or whatever. It's like the busiest night of the year, right? Yeah. And you can have all this fun with like that they've themed it and called it the North Pole and things like that. And they have like rooms that are named after like toy work, like the workshop or the elf, like whatever. And you can have this whole like kind of company corporate culture established in there. But the idea is that it's normal while we're following them through into the locker room and getting dressed and stuff. And maybe we're doing like a Shaun of the Dead kind of oneer where
as he walks through,
they're not noticing that everything is awry. Things are awry. Yeah. Then they open the door and it's just a big conference room full of dead Santas, or like a warehouse, I guess maybe where there'd be cars too, but like somewhere where it should be like a big just bustling party of Santa Clauses, and it's these two Santa Clauses everywhere. Open up and there's just dead bodies everywhere, and then you have like a stalking scene with the two of them, like for the rest of that sequence. And I'm thinking from then, maybe one of them survives and becomes like an ally in the movie later. You know what I mean? When whoever killed all the Santas is now going to all these parties where things were booked and murdering people as Santa.
Yes, I'm in. I think
sure?
No, I'm in. Especially because I feel like one of them gets brutally murdered by the end, and the scene ends with the surviving person like covered in blood or whatever, just like seeing it and screaming or something, and then it cuts to like Santa Claus, but with like CLAW. Or something like that.
Or it could like end with, like they're hiding somewhere and the door flies open and they like scream, and then you cut to the title Scream. And
Scream but Christmas.
Scream but Christmas. And then you assume that person's dead, and then later they're alive when they like rescue one of the characters or something. And they're like the, what's the name of the Kyle Reese from Terminator? They're like the, come with me if you want to live like character.
Yeah. All I can do is just like, I don't mean to zone out while you talk, but I'm just trying to think of Santa puns that are
titles. Yeah, no, it's important that you do this.
And I'm like, what rhymes with Kringle? That's a horror movie thing.
Well, so structure-wise, we're saying then like we need to start an unexpected, like maybe like a city street. But I think it'd be even better if the opening image is like some kind of signage that has to do with the company that's like North Pole or Santa or Christmas related.
Like we think it, North Pole, and we see some snow passing the sign or whatever, and then we pull out and we see that's actually like downtown Chicago or whatever.
Okay.
Because we should think, oh yeah, they're in fun. It's in the North Pole, and it's like, what the hell is this like old crappy warehouse?
Pull back to city,
and we see like a homeless guy like throwing up or something like that. Like,
wow, you're going for it.
Yeah, we really gotta establish the
it's like Minority Report when Spielberg's like, I'm going dark. Like, let's have people like vomit and snot come out of their noses, and let's just go for it. People are gonna be doing it whenever we zoom in on an apartment. Like,
so edgy Spielberg.
Edgy Spielberg.
And then
what should we do next, Janusz?
I think we pick up these guys off camera, starting their dialogue, and then we see them walk by or whatever, enter the building, and then we're in our sort of walk and talk, maybe, or maybe
so
like
they're getting out of a cab. You think?
Yeah, or we see like a Santa like boot past camera or whatever, step in a puddle or something, and that could be I don't know, something Santa-y. Trying to figure out how to work in ho 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 in this.
I'm thinking of like what if you found a Santa hat laying on the sidewalk as people are walking by it, walking over it or something? Could you get away with having a character like come up and pick it up, like a slow move, dolly-in shot of it on the ground?
No respect.
And then someone picks it up and is like, God, I'm glad I found it. I can't believe I dropped it. I don't like that part.
You've seen more Sorkin things than me. I've never seen The West Wing. I've seen like a few episodes here and there. But what are some other like Sorkin-y tropes other than like the walk and talk and the sort of smart ass sort of dialogue?
It's really about like, he talks a lot about intention and obstacle.
Yeah, I've taken his masterclass.
Yeah, he talked a lot about it in that.
Yeah.
My analysis of like his stuff is that like he tends to have a central like thing he needs to accomplish in the scene, and he just creates like character like it just kind of like not gymnastics, but kind of like he figures out a way to dance around the thing. He finds a character based reason for everybody to dance around the thing that needs to happen, whether it be one person that's trying to do it and the other person who's distracted by something else or needs something else in return for it. Maybe the character who needs the thing is like afraid to ask for it or afraid to say it, and the other character is digging it out of them. Like he regularly has characters repeat themselves for like a variety of different reasons. I don't know if he's admitted this, but you can tell in his work that he like will have someone say, we need to get there at 4:00. And someone will say, what? Like what time? Like 4:00. We need to get there at 4:00. Like he'll have characters repeat things that you need to know because his characters are talking so much.
Yeah.
The other thing he does a lot that people will mimic and do wrong and make me want to die is the like someone saying, hey, did you get the thing? They're like, what thing? The thing. But what? The thing? I got this thing. No, not that thing. The thing. Like, you don't have the thing? He doesn't have the thing. Oh man, you got to get the thing. Like it's that. It's that just like, oh, we have a shorthand, but there's a confusion about it.
Very fast. I feel like in the newsroom that happens a lot.
Yes, and he does it really well, and other people sometimes don't. So the other thing is, a big thing that he'll do, the big thing that I think he does really, really well is he will start a dialogue scene with something trivial. Like the opening of Social Network is very much like you'll have somebody talking about something trivial, and then it'll digress a little bit into something more personal, and then it will come back around to reveal that the trivial thing at the beginning like was a 500% like the thing that represents everything they're talking about, that is what they're talking about, that like that was the important thing all. You know what I mean? Like it's that kind of a thing. So you really kind of say what the scene's going to be about right at the top, but make it feel trivial, and then you dance your way around it for a while and then bring it back in as the meat and important part. Which is funny is a micro version of what we were talking about the opening of this movie should be. When you pull back is like a weird contextless thing that we then provide context for over the course of the movie later. Stories. Well,
I think we should have our two.
We don't have any time to write this, do we?
Our two. We have very little time to write this scene. We have 28 minutes.
All right. Who are these characters? Why do they need to be who they are?
Well, yeah, I was going to say we need to find something at least, even if we don't write all the dialogue. We can always have our AI write some dialogue for us at the end.
Well, how about? Do we want to have the AI cast? Well, that's true.
That's
true. We can just outline it and have the AI write the scene.
Yeah, but like we need something for these two characters, like an intention and obstacle for one of these characters, where it's like like what we talk about, where it's like someone wants to order pizza and they ask the other one what they want to order, and like that is the story. like something simple like that, because this scene, the audience needs to be really tuned into this conversation, trying to figure out what it has to do with our story before finding out that, oh, this means nothing. Like this scene is them finding dead bodies and realizing that they're in danger, basically, but still having to be this sort of interesting setup for who these people are and trying to get us interested in them. So honestly, to me, it would make sense if they're talking about something else outside of work, outside of being Santas, especially the funny aspect of them in their Santa costumes talking about ridiculous things, you know.
It's the Tarantino thing. We're having them talk about something mundane.
Yes, exactly. Like Madonna.
Okay, they're going to talk about Madonna. Walk into the conversation.
That was my Tarantino thing. Let's have them talk about something that we know about.
Well, I mean, right here, I'm writing what the prompt will be for the AI if we're just going to have it do the work for us. Let's just
full send this is an AI episode. We can,
because I was going to say it'd be funny if we wrote our scene and then had the AI write the scene and then we read them both. Mm-hmm. We don't have time for that anymore. So maybe we'll do that another day.
Yes, we can outline the scene, have a really good outline, plug that in and ask it to write the full script.
So write an opening scene of a movie. Write the opening
we're
scene.
spending the episode writing the prompt for an AI.
Yeah. Write the opening scene for a movie about a...
Does it work well if you say write the opening scene for a movie in which this happens, and then we write like an outline?
Well, I wonder that, but I'm wondering if we just like write the opening scene for a movie in which two characters arrive at an office building where they work as for-hire Santa Clauses.
For parties and events or something.
For parties and events. The film should open with them arriving and having a walk and talk conversation about something mundane as we watch them
walk through the office.
Eventually into a locker room.
Don't forget to put a horror comedy movie up top.
Oh, yeah. As we watch them walk through the office, eventually into a locker room where they...
meet up with other Santas?
Where they and others get dressed in their Santa attire or get dressed up as Santa while continuing their conversation.
And then I liked your idea about in this shot, we see them in the background. We see sort of the craziness of, this mass murder happening in the building. And we don't realize what it is until we get to that final location.
All the while throughout this conversation, we're getting hints and teases of something terrible that is happening that the characters are currently oblivious of. Oblivious to?
Yeah, oblivious to.
To which the characters are currently oblivious, or I don't know how to phrase that.
All the while, throughout this conversation, we're getting hints and teases of something terrible that is happening, to which the characters are currently oblivious.
Of which the characters are currently oblivious, maybe. I don't know. Everyone out there screaming at us that are better writers.
They're like, wait, I thought you guys were developing stuff on this podcast. The robots are developing it?
I know. Once they're dressed, they make their way to a conference room where they expect to
find food and drinks at their holiday party.
Food and drinks and
good fun. Jubilation.
Countless other employees in Santa
costumes.
Employees dressed as Santa.
What they find
instead is the scene of a massacre.
I was going to say like 12 dead Santas, bloodied and bruised Santas are spread around the room or something like that. Just be very graphic with it.
But it does flag super violent imagery.
Oh, does it? Okay.
Stuff you put in there. Yeah. So
can we ask it to put in some Santa dialogue like ho 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 or something like that within the
Yeah, the final line of the scene should be spoken by the killer. Or no, just the final line of the scene should be a common holiday saying.
Common holiday saying like
should
ho,
something
ho, ho,
to do with
or
holidays.
Season's greetings or something like that.
Yeah, okay. The final line of the scene should be, which do you want to give them a specific one or do you want to just say like...
Can we say something like, should be a classic holiday phrase like ho, 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 or season's greetings? For example, or something.
Oh man, this is a lot. I've never put this much in. Let's see.
We'll see what happens. Do you want to read? Should we give any like tone examples too? I've never used this AI, so I don't know.
We can do that after the fact.
Okay. You want to read it out? What we're gonna feed into this AI?
Oh, let me also say like this should all be written in the style of Aaron Sorkin.
Aaron Sorkin. Okay, so write the opening scene for a horror comedy movie in which two characters arrive at an office building where they work as for-hire Santa Clauses for parties and events. The film should open with them arriving and having a walk-and-talk conversation about something mundane, as we watch them walk through the office, eventually into a locker room where they and others get dressed up as Santa while continuing their conversation. All the while, throughout this conversation, we're getting hints and teases of something terrible that is happening, of which the characters are currently oblivious. Once they're dressed, they make their way to a conference room where they expect to find food and drinks and countless other employees dressed as Santa. But what they find instead is the scene of a massacre, a conference room full of bloodied, dead Santas. It becomes immediately clear that they are in danger. A frightening sequence commences in which a killer in a Santa suit stalks our two characters, killing one of them, leaving the fate of the other unclear. The final line of the scene should be a classic holiday phrase like ho 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 or season's greetings. This should all be written in the style of Aaron Sorkin.
I'm going to do one last thing. I'm going to
Mother
write
of
the
God.
opening scene for a horror comedy screenplay.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
This should be interesting. We're going to
Copy
feed this into
chat. It's OpenAI's chat GPT. I don't actually know what to call it. Oh, I have to relog in, and I'm going to share it too.
This is an experiment, listeners. This has been a very easy episode for Seth and I. We could see the future of screenwriting.
We're just going to do this from now on.
This is kind of it blows my mind that what you wrote earlier, it like almost word for word was the same story we came up with, Domesticated.
And I was talking with my son about this. Like this, you can have the same reaction to this that we, understandably and deservedly do about AI created art.
There's pros and cons.
It's just kind of stealing from, pre-existing things. My argument with this one is that this is what real writers do. Like we just steal from, like we're not generating something unique and original. We're absolutely stealing from other writers. So like, it obviously it's not black and white, but okay.
We're feeding it to the AI. We'll see what happens.
It's a lot we gave it.
It's thinking.
It is thinking. We might have broken it.
It's thinking really hard.
Oh, it's not in screenplay format. Maybe it's the office building. Or do we let it write?
Yeah, I think we let it write first and then we...
Load failed.
No, it was getting good too.
It gets so far.
Should we have it write the first part of the scene and then do a separate one for the second?
Let me get rid of the word bloodied. Maybe it's getting like flagged.
But conference room full of bodies.
I'll just say full of dead Santas.
Yeah, let's try that.
I'm going to get rid of the word kill. Let's try this one now. Too many requests. Please slow down. Hold on.
Ooh, fade in. Here we go, baby. Jimmy and Susan. Susan. I love that name.
It's
just my grandma's name.
Hi, Susan.
R.I.P.
But you don't name somebody Susan in a screenplay.
For 2022. It's like Jimmy and Susan. No hate to those out there with those names. But,
Your movie is complete.
Okay,
it wrote it, but it wrote it in story format. So I'm going to say, hang on.
Can you write this same
now
thing?
Put it in screenplay format.
No, put it in screenplay format.
Sorry. I meant to say now. All right, let's mess around with it. Let's read it and then we'll mess around with it.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right. Interior, office building, day. Tim and Mike walk through the office building, chatting about their work as for-hire Santa Clauses.
It's the busiest time of year for us, I swear, sometimes I feel like we're the only ones who actually enjoy being Santa.
That's the spirit. Keep that jolly attitude and we'll make it through the season just fine. The two men make their way to the locker room where they can hear the sounds of other Santas getting dressed. What does that sound like, you think? Sorry.
just cloth moving.
Cloth.
Little buckles.
Bells.
Little buckles.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to a nice, quiet Christmas at home with my family. Maybe we'll even catch a showing of A Christmas Carol at the local theater.
Sounds like a nice way to relax after all the chaos of the season. Mm-hmm. Interior, locker room, day. Tim and Mike put on their red suits and white beards, chatting about their plans for the holidays. Oh, that is lazy writing, AI.
Just skipping the dialogue.
That is lazy screenwriting.
That's a first draft thing, though.
Yeah.
I'm like, I need to get through this scene. They talk about this. Cut to.
They have a comedy scene. Interior conference room day. Tim and Mike enter the conference room expecting to find food and drinks and countless other employees dressed as Santa, but instead they find a conference room full of dead Santas.
Oh my God. What happened here?
I don't know, but we need to get out of here now. The two men quickly back away from the conference room only to be confronted by a figure in a Santa suit brandishing a knife.
Ho, ho, ho. Season's greetings.
The scene ends with Tim and Mike backing away in fear as the killer advances on them.
I like how we said, can the last line be something like this? And they just put exactly what we put.
Yeah, this is lazy. Okay, do it again, but make it better.
But make it better, longer, and more violent.
I'm afraid it'll flag it if I say more violent.
But it needs to be. It's a horror movie.
Make it better and rated R.
There you go. Do it again, but make it better and rated R.
I love giving this thing notes that the studio wants wants
notes
to give
that
you.
would just murder us in real life if we
Yeah.
received them. What if it's the same thing? They just throw in F-bombs.
Well, I told you when I did this for one. I don't know if I sent it to you. It was this. I said this. I said do it again, but make it rated R. And it was the same thing that it wrote, but the last scene, the last paragraph, it made it just like gratuitously violent for no reason.
It looks exactly the same so far.
It does. All right, I'm gonna say make it funnier.
Your movie is complete.
Oh, okay. They said
Full of
instead now-
mutilated, bloody corpses.
Yeah, it's no longer dead Santas. Oh, and then he says, "Oh my
It
God,
goes
what the f-
gagging.
happened here?"
Oh my God, what the fuck happened here?
I don't know, but we need to get out of here now. Two men quickly back away from the conference room, only to be
Did you see-
confronted by a figure in a Santa who brandished a bloody knife.
Ho ho ho! Season's greetings, boys.
Nice addition. The scene ends with Tim and Mike frantically running for their lives as the killer stalks them.
So we added an F-bomb and the word boys, basically.
And instead of a room of dead Santas, it's mutilated bloody corpses.
Yeah.
Make it funnier.
Thank you guys for joining us on the Writer's Room game show featuring ChatGPT AI. Just like we did the last episode, I definitely highly recommend the YouTube version because you could see this AI actually typing out the script right in front of us. So definitely recommend checking out youtube.com/weekendvideo and watching it.
It's not changing anything. Say make it funnier. Whoa. It changed it.
It changed
a lot.
it.
Whoa. It's going a whole new direction in the second
You
half.
are overworking me.
So let's pick it up.
Yep.
They enter the conference room.
Interior conference room day. Tim and Mike enter the conference room, expecting to find food and drinks and countless other employees dressed as Santa. But instead, they find a conference room full of mumbling, confused Santas.
Perplexed. What's going on in here?
I have no idea. It looks like everyone's lost their damn minds. Suddenly, a loud, booming voice echoes through the conference room.
Attention Santas, it's time for our annual Secret Santa gift exchange.
Oh my God. I thought we were in some kind of weird Santa apocalypse for a minute there.
The scene ends with Tim and Mike joining the other Santas in the gift exchange, still confused but relieved that it was just a strange office tradition. I don't
This
know
is
what
so
it just
weird,
did.
dude. They're like, you know what's
Okay.
funnier? If they didn't die, but there's a weird tradition, a gift exchange.
Rewrite the scene, and this time, write it in the style of an Edgar Wright film.
Ooh, I like that.
Okay, it's the same thing.
But with camera movements.
Yeah,
It's the same dialogue, except now there's camera direction.
I'm going to rewrite it from scratch. The sound of Christmas music mixes with the sounds of Santa's getting dressed. Okay.
This
so
is
music
kind of
now.
Edgar Wrighty, you know?
Yeah.
It's trying.
Maybe we just
The
need
camera
to...
focuses on their faces that they get dressed, intercut with quick shots of other Santas getting ready.
Okay, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, quick shots, man.
Instead, they find a conference room full of dead Santas. The camera moves in for a close-up of their shocked faces.
Oh my God. What happened here?
Oh, it gave up. Oh, no, it didn't. Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
Okay,
This
now
is-
I'm going to try something else. Try something different, okay?
Okay.
Write the opening scene of a feature-length screenplay that fits the horror comedy genre and appeals to fans of Aaron Sorkin.
Just our literal
Yeah, I want to see what it does.
Christmas.
It must take place
Yes, our holidays.
during the holidays.
Okay, we're starting from scratch, people. We're going to see what the AI could have came up with that's better or worse than the idea that we came up with. It doesn't look like it's in screenplay format.
Nope. In the first sentence says the opening scene of the screenplay opens on a bustling holiday party in a New York. I want to put that in my own scripts. I'm going to start the first line of a script says the opening scene of the screenplay.
Scene of this
opens-
screenplay.
Yeah.
I guess you can afterwards say write it in screenplay format and it'll be fine.
Yeah.
So it
It's
looks like
pitching it to me.
ChatGPT thinks that the best thing to write for this specific prompt is at a New York City penthouse apartment. Oh, our timer's up.
Oh no.
I like how we just halfway through our episode, we're like, let's just have the
Your
chat bot
movie is
write it
complete.
for us. So write it in a screenplay format, I guess is the...
Yeah. Put it in screenplay format. And then pops up. All right.
Okay, we've got a screenplay, right? We got to give...
Interior.
We got to assign cast.
You befriend one.
I'll be friend one. I'll be party goer. You want to be
I'll
voice?
be friend two. I'll be friend two, and I'll be voice.
This is a quick one, too. Very short scene.
Interior, maybe we're overwriting. Interior, penthouse apartment, night. The camera pans across a bustling holiday party in a New York City penthouse apartment. The partygoers are dressed in their finest holiday attire, sipping champagne and mingling with one another. In the corner of the room, a group of friends are gathered around a table, discussing the latest episode of their favorite Aaron Sorkin show. Okay. Suddenly, the lights flicker and the music cuts out. Also, where's that dialogue, AI? Suddenly, the lights flicker and the music cuts out. A hush falls over the room as the partygoers look around nervously.
What's going on?
I don't know, but I have a bad feeling about this. The door to the penthouse slams shut, trapping them all inside. A sinister laughter echoes through the room. Cindy sending shivers down their spines.
Who's there?
You'll find out soon enough.
The group of friends huddle together trying to figure out what to do. They quickly realize they are not alone in the penthouse and that something very dangerous is lurking in the shadows. As the tension in the room builds, the audience is left on the edge of their seats wondering what will happen next. Will the friends be able to escape from the terror that has trapped them in the penthouse, or will they fall prey to the holiday horror that awaits them? Okay.
I like the idea of ending a scene in your screenplay with like a weird like trailer dialogue, like end of the episode.
Of what will happen?
Yes, what will happen? Tune in the next scene to find out.
Tune into the next scene.
This AI
right,
is trying its best, but so far I'm feeling pretty good about humans' ability to write screenplays so far. Okay, Seth is currently writing Pitch Me a movie called Mira and the Synthetic Sea, The Rise of Plastotopia. I think we did Plastotopia's Fallen. Are you doing the sequel?
Oh, it was Plastotopia's Fallen?
No, this is the sequel, my man.
All right.
Mira and the Synthetic Sea,
it.
The Rise of Plastotopia.
It is just, okay, the cursor was just blinking for a long time. It stuttered on Plastotopia, like it didn't want us to do it.
Mira and the Synthetic Sea, The Rise of Plastotopia is a dystopian sci-fi thriller about a young woman named Mira who lives in a world where the oceans have been destroyed and replaced by synthetic seeds made of plastic.
Whoa!
Oh my God. That is literally the plot.
Hey, Polly, it's actually not. The sea is all that's left in ours.
Okay.
And also, it's not weird that it said plastic because Plastotopia is in the title. But all right, go ahead.
Okay, you're right. And the boats and the cities are made of plastic, not the water.
Yeah.
As a member of a resistance group fighting against the oppressive government, Mira must navigate the treacherous world of Plastotopia and uncover the truth about the synthetic seas before it's too late.
What's the truth about the synthetic seas?
With the help of a ragtag group of rebels, Mira sets out on a journey across the synthetic seas, facing dangers at every turn and uncovering secrets about the government's true motives. As she delves deeper into the heart of Plastotopia, Mira must confront her own beliefs and decide where her loyalties lie, ultimately leading her to a showdown with the ruling powers and a final battle for the fate of the world. That's fun, dude. That sounds like a young adult, adventure movie.
It also pitched nothing to us.
It's the most broad.
Like if we pitched this is not far off from my very first pitch I ever gave. It was like
just like super broad, where you're like, it's an adventure movie where this person does this, and they save the world.
Now, will a character survive or will they succeed? What? Yeah, 100%. Let's make it pitch us one more thing. I don't want to leave yet.
Yes, I don't want to leave either. What's another movie we developed? Delete your account? Oh yes, pitch us a movie called Into the Santaverse. This is a Christmas episode. We might as well see what happens.
Well, you might as well talk about the Santaverse again. Into the Santaverse is a heartwarming holiday adventure about a young girl named Lily who discovers a magical portal that leads her into the world of Santa Claus and his elves. Lily is whisked away to the North Pole, where she meets Santa and his team of elves who are preparing for Christmas. As she spends time with them, Lily learns about the true meaning of Christmas and the importance of giving and sharing. But when a group of mischievous elves accidentally release a group of imprisoned monsters, Lily must team up with Santa and his elves to save Christmas from being ruined. Along the way, Lily learns valuable lessons about friendship, selflessness, and the power of the holiday spirit. In the end, she helps Santa and the elves save Christmas and learns the true meaning of the season.
She's learned so many true meanings.
It's a lot of true meanings.
She learned the true meaning of giving and sharing. She learned the true meaning of Christmas. She learned the true meaning of giving, the true meaning of the season. Seth is currently writing Make It Edgier, Weirder, and more subversive.
Let's see how it interprets that. One time I told it to write a marketing email for plot devices, and then I just kept saying make it weirder, and then I'd do it, and then I'd say make it even weirder, and I'd say make it even weirder than that. So finally the subject line was just, it's time to get weird.
Nice. Did you use that?
No, I should. I have to send that. We have a sale going on that I haven't announced or told anyone about yet.
I'm reading this one. Into the Santaverse is a subversive subversive
By the
holiday
way,
adventure.
I do want to pause. Honestly, I've heard from what I've experienced and heard from many other writers, what it just did is really all you need to do most of the time to like a studio note. Like if like
make it more subversive. So right up front. A character doesn't
feel likable. Just literally introduce them as a likable like blank, and it will work 90% of the time. All right, sorry.
I love that. Into the Santaverse is a subversive holiday adventure that takes a dark and twisted look at the world of Santa Claus and his elves. The story follows a young girl named Lily who stumbles upon a mysterious portal that leads her into the depths of the Santaverse, a twisted and surreal world filled with dark elves, candy-crazed reindeer, and a jaded and cynical Santa Claus who has lost all faith in humanity.
This is the 80s version.
As Lily navigates the dangerous and bizarre world of the Santaverse, she must confront her own beliefs and confront the true meaning of Christmas. I love how she was discovering it last time, and now she's confronting it.
Yeah.
Along the way, she teams up with a group of misfit elves who are fighting against Santa's oppressive rule.
Wow.
And together, they embark on a wild and dangerous journey to overthrow Santa and save
Whoa.
Christmas from being ruined. But But as they get closer to their goal, they realize that the true enemy may be much closer to home. And that
What?
The only
The
way
true
to
enemy?
the only way to save Christmas is to confront their own darkness and embrace the true spirit of the season.
Unpack that last paragraph.
This Christmas, we're gonna kill Santa.
Yeah, unpack that last paragraph. What?
I think the elves.
What darkness are they confronting inside themselves?
I think it's like an anti-work movie where like the elves are being mistreated by Santa and they're like unionizing.
It's
and
a pro
rising
labor.
up.
Yeah, it's a pro labor film. I'm fine with that. I'm pro labor.
Unpack that last paragraph. What darkness are they confronting inside themselves?
In the last paragraph of the previous response, it is mentioned that the group of misfit elves must confront their own darkness in order to save Christmas. This darkness could be a variety of things, depending on the characters and their individual backgrounds. For example, one character may be struggling with feelings of jealousy or resentment towards Santa. And what a sentence. And must confront, how did we get here? And must confront these negative emotions in order to move forward. Another character may be dealing with feelings of inadequacy or self-doubt and must overcome these insecurities in order to fulfill their potential. Overall, the darkness, in quotes, that the characters must confront could be any internal struggle or negative emotion that is holding them back from being their true selves and achieving their goals.
I love it.
How does
the movie
one
end?
Character confront their resentment towards Santa?
This is like my pitch. When I pitch this movie we've been pitching, we get like questions after our pitch, and this is what it feels. It's funny that this is what it feels like on the other side. We're like, so explain this thing that you just told us.
Explain this part where you clearly don't know anything. Like where you clearly have not prepped anything.
And it's like, well, you see, there are many ways that the character could confront their resentment towards Santa. One possibility is that they could have a heart-to-heart conversation with Santa where they express their feelings and work through their issues together. This could involve Santa listening to the character's concerns and offering advice or guidance, or it could involve the character coming to understand Santa's perspective and seeing things from his point of view. Another possibility is that the character could confront their resentment through a more physical or action-oriented method. For example, they could go on a journey or quest that challenges them and helps them overcome their resentment. This can involve facing physical challenges such as fighting monsters or navigating treacherous terrain, or it could involve facing emotional challenges such as forgiving others or letting go of grudges. Ultimately, the specific way that the character confronts their resentment towards Santa will depend on their individual personality and the story being told.
In the final version of the film, how will they defeat Santa? Is that good?
Yes, I love it. How will they defeat Santa?
I love that it took a turn. That took a turn to where like
our entire
Santa
episode we
became
should
the
have
bad guy.
just been having conversations with this thing, like making it
We
pitch
should
us
have.
things.
In the final version of the film, it is not clear exactly how the group of misfit elves will defeat Santa. It's not.
You're writing the movie, man.
This will depend on the specific plot and events of the story as well as the characters and their motivations. No shit, that's why I'm asking. Okay. One possibility, I'm going to start saying this back. That first paragraph is I'm going to say back to questions in pitches. One possibility is that the group of misfit elves could band together and use their combined skills and abilities. I'm sorry. I just want to take a break. I just started imagining, what if you pitch something and they say, okay, well, how do you see, the villain being defeated in the end? What if you responded with, well, it's not clear exactly. It'll depend on the specific plot and events of the story, as well as the characters and their motivations. Like, what if you said that? Okay. One possibility is that the group of misfit elves could band together and use their combined skills and abilities to take down Santa. This can involve physical combat, where the elves use their martial arts training, or combat skills to defeat Santa and his army of elves. Wow. Wait, aren't the elves?
There's dark elves. There's dark elves too.
That's right.
Did you forget
It could also involve more subtle methods, such as using their intelligence and cunning to outmaneuver Santa and disrupt his plans. Still not answering the question. Another possibility is that the elves could defeat Santa by using their knowledge and understanding of the Santaverse to their advantage. For example, they could use their knowledge of the magical properties of the Santaverse to cast spells or perform other supernatural feats that Santa is not prepared for. They could also use their understanding of the inner workings of the Santaverse to exploit weaknesses in Santa's plan or defenses. Ultimately, the specific way that the elves defeat Santa will depend on the details of the story and the characters involved.
It always comes back to, it all depends on the details of the story and the characters involved. I love that. Can you ask them, we love this idea, who would direct this movie and who would be cast in the movie? Like who's directing?
I love this idea. Who do you see directing this movie? It will depend a lot on the
plot and the characters involved. It is not for me to say who should direct a hypothetical movie, as I am the AI language model, do not have the ability to make creative decisions or evaluate skills, blah, blah, blah.
I'll say.
Man, the Santaverse, guys. This is a good opportunity to go back and listen to our episode Into the Santaverse, one of our favorite episodes.
I still don't know if I stand by that episode. In memory, it deteriorates for me.
No, it gets better and better. I
think it peaks at Santa saving baby Jesus, personally. I think that is where the story peaks. All right, one last thing.
Blackbeard versus
Pitch me
Whitebeard.
a movie where Santa Claus has to save baby Jesus in order to save Christmas.
There are also 10 other Santas from across the multiverse. In order to save Christmas and the multiverse.
Oh, I actually need to it's going to think back to what it's previous. Okay, hang on. I'm going to copy this and I'm going to refresh the page so it doesn't pitch it in the context of that of that conversation.
Pitch me a movie where Santa Claus has to traverse the Santaverse in order to save baby Jesus from the pirate Blackbeard in order to save Christmas. Love it. 2 in orders, though.
Teaming up with several other versions of Santa Claus
to save
baby Jesus from the pirate Blackbeard and to rescue baby Jesus from pirate Blackbeard and save Christmas itself.
Yes, I cannot wait for this. That's hilarious that that's the log line to Into the Santaverse.
All right, you want to read it?
Yeah. In this action-packed holiday adventure, Santa Claus finds himself on a mission to save Christmas itself. When the pirate Blackbeard kidnaps baby Jesus, Santa must traverse the Santaverse, teaming up with several other versions of Santa Claus from different dimensions and eras. As Santa and his team journey through...
it's just reading ours back to us, by the way. But keep going.
As Santa and his team journey through the Santaverse, they encounter a variety of challenges and obstacles. Wow. Specific. From fierce snowstorms to treacherous ice caverns. Along the way, they also encounter friendly elves and other magical creatures who help them on their quest. As they journey deeper into the Santaverse, Santa and his team must rely on their cunning, strength, and Christmas spirit to overcome Blackbeard and his evil crew. But they soon discover that Blackbeard's true plan is to destroy Christmas once and for all, and it's up to Santa and his team to stop him. Through battles and trials, Santa and his team grow closer, learning to trust and rely on each other. And with the help of powerful magic, they finally reach Blackbeard's stronghold and engage in a thrilling showdown to rescue baby Jesus and save Christmas. With its heartwarming message and the action-packed adventure, the Santaverse Rescue is a must-see holiday film for the whole family.
Tell me more about the powerful magic.
I like how they titled the movie The Santaverse Rescue.
As Santa and his team journey through the Santaverse, they encounter a variety of magical creatures and objects. One of the most powerful is a magical crystal.
Okay.
It's not far from what we were doing.
Not far.
Which grants its wielder incredible strength and the ability to control the elements. Santa and his team come across the crystal during a fierce snowstorm, and they quickly realize its power. They use it to fight off Blackbeard's crew and make their way through the treacherous ice caverns. However, the crystal is not without its drawbacks. It has a dangerous and unpredictable power, and using it comes with great risk. Santa and his team must learn to harness its power carefully and wisely if they hope to succeed in their quest. In the end, the crystal plays a crucial role in their final battle with Blackbeard. With its help, Santa and his team are able to defeat the pirate and rescue baby Jesus, saving Christmas and restoring peace to the Santaverse.
Wow, that's beautiful.
And on that note, I think we should say, everyone, happy holidays from the Writers Room Game Show.
Happy holidays. Thank you for joining us on this wonderful episode as we're going to get this beautiful ChatGPT to write an outro for our show.
Write an outro for a holiday episode of the podcast, The Writers Room Game Show, hosted by Ryan Pauly and Seth Worley.
I love it.
The premise of the podcast... No, I'll just say, write an outro for a holiday episode of the podcast, The Writers Room Game Show, hosted by Ryan Pauly and Seth Worley. Make it funny, clever, witty, and...
contain the spirit of Christmas.
And make sure it evokes the spirit of Christmas. Quietly sexual. What does that even mean? Take us out, Pauly.
And that's a wrap on this holiday episode of the Writers Room Game Show. We hope you enjoyed our festive shenanigans and that you have a very Merry Christmas.
As always, we'd like to thank our guests for joining us in the Writers Room and for bringing their hilarious and creative ideas to the table. And of course, we couldn't have done it without our amazing host, Ryan Pauly, and our trusty sidekick, damn it, Seth Worley.
So from all of us here at the Writers Room, we wish you a happy holidays and a joyous new year. And remember, whether you're naughty or nice, it's never too late to start writing that holiday romance novel you've always dreamed of. You've always dreamed of. Ho, ho, ho. See you next time, everybody.
Thanks, host Polly.
Thank you, trusty sidekick Seth Worley.
You AI.
The Writers' Room Game Show with me, Ryan Polly, and Seth Worley. Executive produced by Grant Wakefield at Weekend Video and Ann Fogerty at Plot Devices. Edited to perfection by Rene Gomez. Our art is by your buddy, Meg Lewis, and our face-melting music is by Ben Worley. The Writers' Room Game Show is a Weekend Video production in association with Plot Devices. Learn more about Weekend Video at weekend.video and check out writersroomgame.show to listen to all of our episodes and suggest your own prompts for future shows. And don't forget to rate and review our show on Apple Podcasts. It really helps our show out a lot. See you in the next one.